Hello YouTube, I'm David with the David West channel. Well, today I wanted to make a video response for the John Cap's channel. He's having a 175 subscriber giveaway, and he wants us to either submit a video response for 2 entries, a video response showing a build of some kind for 2 entries into his contest, or you can just simply send him a link to a video where you have learned something from that video, learned how to build something or learned something about bushcraft, and that would be 1 entry. So for my double entry, I thought I'd show how I build a hobo stove, and I just built one last week, so I'm kind of familiar and know exactly how I want to do it. This is the one that I built last week, and well, first let me show these to you. You can have a hobo stove just as plain as can be, something as plain as this, with no elevated floor. I've used this for a burn can. I've never cooked anything on it. Something with no holes in it at all. But basically, my hobos. This is the one. This is the one that you see me use all the time. It's got a feed hole in the front that I usually keep covered up. And the trick to this stove, the reason why it burns so well, early on, about 3 years ago, when I was building stoves and trying to figure out the design that I wanted, I used to watch the BC Truck channel, and he was building rocket stoves and gasifier stoves, and I built some of those stoves, but I determined that I actually wanted just a simple hobo stove. So somebody, I don't know who it was, sent me a comment saying your hobo stove would work a lot better if you put an elevated floor in it. And he was so right. I use this expanded metal. And it's on these 4 screws right here. So if you think about it, now air can get to my fire from every single direction. It can get to it from the bottom, through these holes here, through the side, through the top. And also something else I learned about hobo stoves is you can't set a pot right on top, because that interferes with the draw and it'll just smoke. So on these I've got a little crisscross that I put as a standoff for my pot. So, but the stove that I built yesterday has sort of the same concept. This one has the standoffs so that the pot is not sitting right on the rim and causing it to smoke. And it has the elevated floor, but I didn't use expanded metal. I just punched a bunch of holes in the can top. This was a Hunt's stewed tomato can. So I cut the top off, and then I took some tin snips and just cut a 1/16 off all the way around. Punched a bunch of 1/4-inch holes in there. And that's what we're using for the elevated floor. So this is the style we'll be making today. These real short self-tapper screws is stuff that I salvaged from work that would normally be thrown away in the trash can, so I grab them up. And what I use for the legs is just simply 1/4-inch bolts by 2-inch long. And now I'll be using this step bit, and it's pretty dull. So everywhere as I drill a hole with the step bit, I'll drill a pilot hole with this 1/8 inch first, because I've got that tip pretty dull, and it goes up to 3/4 inch. These holes are 3/4 inch. So let me get started. I don't necessarily want to give you set in stone directions or measurements on how to build yours, because every single stove I've ever built has been different. It depends on what can you have, what other materials you have, what hardware, bolts and self-tappers, and what kind of tools you have. So this will just give you an idea of one way to build a hobo stove. Let's get started. This is the bean can we'll use today, and I thought I'd use it as an opportunity to go ahead and practice with my Swiss Army knife can opener. And we'll pour the beans out in a pot. After I make this stove, I'm going to go ahead and cook these beans. Now I simply like, on my green beans, I simply like a third of a stick of butter and a few shaved onions in it, salt and pepper. So that's the way we'll cook these on the stove that we make out of this can. Let's see if I can remember how to how to use this can opener. I'll get the pot. Alright, let me set the beans aside and we'll go ahead and get started. Take much. Alright, just basically going to riddle this thing with holes, with making sure that we keep the strength. 1/8" drill bit. Alright, that part's done. Now, I got a bunch of pilot holes to drill on this. I need to drill the pilot holes for these 3/4 inch holes, approximately 1.5 inches apart. Pilot holes for these. This right here is a 3/4 inch hole, a 3/4 inch hole, and then connected by cutting out with tin snips. Still need to put the legs in. Let's go ahead and put the legs in right now before we get a bunch of screws in the way. And I'm going to guesstimate where it's at. We'll put one here, and here, and here, and here. It doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be exact. Now, there's a raised ridge right there, right where I'd like to put my screw. I'm going to see if somehow I can dent that so that I can go ahead and drill my hole. make these things, you're going to continue to run into all kinds of little things that you didn't think about, and you're just going to have to find a way to deal with all the obstacles you run into. That should work. Let's do a pilot hole. Quarter-inch bolts, 2 inches long, 7/16 socket and screwdriver. See if I can do it left-handed so you can watch what's going on. Now the beauty about this is that you can splay these legs out until it sits level. And they need to be splayed out. Splay them out to the side. This could come over just a little bit. I like to make sure that they're square. Just come over a little bit. Now check them. Okay, and pull this one out a little bit. That's it. Alright. Now, for our holes on the bottom and our holes on the top, let's just figure every 1.5 inches apart. Do the same thing on top, and it doesn't have to be perfect. I think I'll go directly above them. Alright. Now, for this slot right here, like I said, it'll be a 3/4 inch hole here and a 3/4 inch hole here. So let me just see what I think looks good. Let's go wherever the center is. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We can go there. Let's go to the one below it. And I'll have the feed slot, I'll have it centered on these two. Which that's pretty good right there. So we'll drill those 2 pilot holes. Now we'll start making our 3/4 inch holes. Top of that step bit is 3/4 of an inch. I noticed on the last one I must have forced this drill bit into the hole too fast, because I had some big old, I mean, you're going to have big old nasty burrs and shavings and razor blades stuck to the hole on the inside, but I think if I don't push it in there so fast, I think a lot of that won't be there. Hot stuff. Alright, we'll connect those two holes for the feed slot. Now this is where I need my green handle 10 snips, but we'll make do with this. Coming together. Alright, now our elevated floor. Let's put our elevated floor right at the very top. Let's put it right here. Looks like if I put it over here on this side. Oop. Put it over here on this side. And over here. Oh! Near the center over here. Those two will work. Let me put those two in. This is going to make this, now this is the ledge for that elevated floor to sit on, these 4 self-tappers. I hope you're able to follow what's going on. Now, that fire can get air all the way around. Now for my standoffs, I'm going to have to turn you off, go down into the building and see what I can use for standoffs. I had some spare expanded metal down there that I used for standoffs on this one. So I might have some more expanded metal. Let me just turn you off and go find something. We'll be burning this thing. We'll be burning it off here in just a little bit. Alright, I found some more expanded metal. I'm just going to cut it out of this. Let's see, it needs to be 1, 2 and a half, so it needs to be about 3 inches, I think. Yeah, 3 inches. And this one was a half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 and a half. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll cut this one right here. And starting off with a half again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cut that one right there. Let's try that. Alright, I found some small sheet metal screws. So let's continue on. Now, you want to conform it to the shape of the can best you can. Alright, that's basically it. I got 2 up top in the top of the slot, and these 2 down in the bottom of the slot, so that thing can't go anywheres. And I've got that, I was looking at this point right here all the way across. So let me do the other side now. Alright, there it is. Let's go ahead and burn it off. Now, when it starts to burn, it's going to get so bright that my video will turn dark. So just be aware of that before we get started. And let's see how good you can see that. Yeah. Let's start off with pine needles. A little bit of bamboo. Let's let that cook just a little bit. A little bit more bamboo. Give that a chance to heat up. Alright, there's the green beans, onion, about 1/3 of a stick of butter, salt and pepper. Now I'll cook these until about all that water is boiled out of them, and they'll be done. And let me tell you this, it only took about 10 minutes. If you keep those flames licking the pot, it doesn't take long to get your boil on. So 10 minutes for a quart of green beans, that's pretty fast. That's getting about right. Just a little bit of moisture left in there. Make sure you can see the pour. Yeah. That's going to be good. Oh man, that is good. Alright, there you go, John. My build video, how to build a hobo stove. Turned out pretty good. I'm pleased with it. Y'all go check out John Cap's channel. I'll leave a link for you. You can get right over to it. And also check out BC Truck. Like I told you, he's the one that I started building stoves with from watching his videos right back at the very beginning, 3 years ago. That's why I started making videos, because I wanted to get it on film, some of the prototypes that I was making, and it came straight from his how-to videos. Alright y'all, thanks for joining me on this one. We'll catch you on the next one.